Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Looks like I have a sound now. Let's see if you guys come back on here. I don't know what is going on with that, but it's really annoying. Hey guys, sorry. I don't know what is going on with my sound, but I am back. I will try to figure it out for next week. And maybe because my Mac has to have a little connector thing, but I tried unplugging it and plugging it back in. Didn't work, so I don't know. So part 2 of the Gunpowder Empires. Hopefully everybody hops back on here. So basically we're talking about Shah Abbas of the Safavid Empire, and we were talking about how he is modernizing, okay? So he encourages trade, he builds bureaucracy, and he also starts to gather Christian boys for military service, the way that the Ottomans did, and he's expanding, all right? A little bit about their societies. They export carpets. That's a pretty important export for them. And they have a lot of farmers and herders within their society. All right. All right. Thanks for hopping back on here. We're going to keep going with the Safavid Empire. And I'll try to figure out my sound for next week. I don't know what's going on with that. Okay. So the women in the Safavid Empire, they are permitted to participate in society. So that's important because sometimes they're not always permitted based on Muslim rules. They did have to wear veils, though, and they did have restricted movement. Also, Islamic law did not allow them to inherit anything, and they were only allowed to get divorced in extreme cases. All right, so let's talk about the decline. The decline of the Safavids. After Shah Abbas, the decline happens very quickly. Basically, there's too much spending and corruption by the leaders, and trade declined. International trade is also declining. It's very difficult. Where they're at, they're kind of landlocked. They're not very close to the trade routes on the sea. And so they don't have a very big international trade base. Their agricultural production is also low. So in 1722, they are put under siege again. And it's called the Siege of Isfahan. And basically, the Sunnis come in and they attack from Afghanistan. They're Afghani invaders that attack, and it causes the Safavid Empire to fall. Now, the effects of their decline go into even today. Basically, there's still a lot of tension in the Middle East between the Sunnis and the Shia. So this time of the Safavid Empire was pretty much the high point or the golden age of Iran, and a lot of times that's what they're trying to get back to. All right, that's the Safavid Empire. We're going to go on now to the Mughal Empire. I think the Mughal Empire is one of my favorites because it's super interesting what happens in the Mughal Empire. It's founded by a guy named Babur. That's how you spell it. They basically descend from the Mongols. Mughal is actually Persian for Mongols. And basically, they're using the Ottoman tactics for conquering. So gunpowder is super important. Their dynasty is going to last around 300 years. So pretty substantial. One of the main guys, or one of the main rulers, you spell it like this, Akbar. He's an interesting ruler because he basically wants to try to unite the Mughal Empire. At the time, there are several different religions. The majority religions would be Islamic and Hindu. All right. So he tries to unite them. He does this in several ways. He's going to encourage intermarriage between the two religions, which is interesting, to say the least. He also takes away the tax to be Hindu. He incorporates Hindus into the government. And he puts less restrictions on women. Yeah, kind of a little bit like Alexander the Great, Tuan. Exactly. Some of these restrictions that he took away from women is that he allowed widows to be remarried. He discouraged this practice called sati. And what that was is when your husband would die, they would basically put the body on a pyre. That's how you spell it. A pyre is basically the body is up on top of kind of like a bonfire, and they burn the body. All right, so that's what would happen when someone died, and the widows were required to jump into their husband's pyre and die with him. How crazy is that, right? So Akbar said, nope, let's get rid of that. Okay. So he kind of discouraged it. He didn't completely get rid of it, but he did discourage it. Okay, he also will promote Hindus to higher ranks, and he creates a combined faith, a combined divine faith. And the four religions, actually 5 religion, is Hindu, Islam, Zoroastrianism, Sikh, and Christians. Right? So he combines all of those religions together and calls it the divine faith. There's another form of syncretism. Hi, Janan. How you doing? Good to see you. So during his reign, it's kind of like a hybrid, multicultural empire, and it flourishes. Everything is pretty good. Yes, I will repeat the religions. So the religions are Hindu, Islam, Zoroastrianism. Let me spell that for you. That one's kind of hard to spell. And Sikh and Christian. Thank you, Tuan. I'm good, Janan. I'm good. I hope you guys had a good weekend. Monday's coming. I'm kind of bummed it's not like homecoming dress up week this week. That was so much fun. Okay, so now Akbar dies. His grandson takes over, and his name is Shah Jehan. Shah Jehan is unfortunately not as he's not as good as Akbar. He starts taking away some of the reforms that had helped women. He did want to control and extend the Mughal Empire. And he wants to do this by getting rid of Hinduism altogether. That's going to be difficult considering at the time it's the majority religion. The religions together, Luz, is called the divine faith or the divine religion. Yep, thank you, Tuan. You're the best. Okay. So under him, he does build the Taj Mahal. And I was going to print a picture of the Taj Mahal, and I forgot. But you can definitely look it up on Google. It's quite fantastic. And basically, the Taj Mahal is another example of syncretism because it blends Islamic geometry and Hindu ornamentation. So the Islamic part is the architecture, the geometry of the architecture, and then the Hindu ornamentation of the building. So put syncretism beside the Taj Mahal. That's another example that you might be able to use in an essay. Who knows? This Shah also raises taxes, and he starts using tax collectors called zamindars. They are tax collectors. He is also a supporter of the caste system. So he kind of takes the Mughal Empire back a little bit. It's not quite as advanced as it was under Akbar. All right, our next Shah, here's how you spell his name. And he rules from 1658 to 1707. He's even a little bit worse than the previous Shah. He reverses everything that Akbar had put in place. And he deems Islam the superior religion. The caste system, Madison, is basically the class system that they had set up in India, where you had the higher ups. Yes, it's the ranking of people. You had the higher ups, and then all the way at the bottom were the untouchables. It's basically like the class system. All right, so this guy up here, he reverses everything Akbar did. He bans worldly things, such as dancing. He destroys Hindu temples, some Hindu temples, not all of them. He imposes the jinza, or the jizya, I think is how you say it. And that's basically a tax on non-Muslims. So he puts that into place. He also forces Islamic law. Now, as a result of this, Hindus begin to revolt. Obviously, they're not going to like this. And these revolts are going to fracture the empire, which is going to lead to the fall of the empire, basically because they're weak with all these revolts. They're having to defend from within. They're having to defend from without. Basically, they're on attack, or they're under attack from all areas. And this gives the perfect opportunity for the British to come in and colonize, basically take over. So the decline of the Mughals leads to military and economic intervention by the British. The effects of this is that the Mughal Empire once had been a multicultural empire that had been accepting of cultures with religious tolerance and was united. And because of the end, there's going to be this huge antagonism or conflict between the Hindus and the Muslims, one that still is somewhat there today. So he did not get rid of Islam. Both Shah Jehan and Aurangzeb, however you say his name, they both supported Islam. This guy, though, he really supported it. He basically put it more as the supreme religion. Shah Jehan just supported it. He wasn't like as extreme with it. This guy wanted to get rid of the other religions. Okay, any other question about the Mughal Empire? It's kind of interesting how it digressed so much. I mean, it was so great under Akbar, and then, 1 or 2 rulers later, it's done. It's no more. Okay, so real quick, tomorrow you're going to be going into your class, and you're going to be learning about the LEQ and everything about the LEQ rubric. There are 3 different historical skills that you could possibly be asked about on an LEQ, and they are similarity and difference, or comparison, change in continuity, or CCOT, and cause and effect, or causation. All right? Anytime you're asked about any of those, Madison, I'll catch you up. Just give me a second. This part, Madison, you won't need, because this is for the AP essays. So this part you can kind of tune out on. But basically, let's say you're asked about similarity and difference. You need to have 3 total. You can have any of the, like you can have 2 similarities and 1 difference, or 2 difference and 1 similarity, but you have to have a combination of the 3, okay? Same with CCOT and same with cause and effects. Okay, so tonight what I want you to do, look over the notes that I gave you. Look over the notes that you had in class. Look over the notes from the autopsy of the Gunpowder Empires, and try to look for similarities and differences between the empires. Try to look for cause and effects of their decline, or cause and effects of just their empire building as a whole. Try to look for changes and continuities. and just label those in your notes. Make comparisons and look at what you have in your notes that might help you on the LEQ. Tomorrow you'll get the LEQ prompt and you'll start writing on the skeleton. So your notes will be very helpful. One other really important thing, remember with essays, you have to be specific. So you're going to be able to use the skeleton on your LEQ when you write it on Tuesday. Make sure it's specific. Don't just put down generic things, okay? Make sure that you have specific details. And last but not least, tomorrow I will not be doing a live, but I will post a video about the LEQ rubric. So after you hear your teacher explain it in class, if you still have more questions, you might want to check out that video, and it might be helpful for when you go home and you're writing your skeleton and you're like, I don't remember what she said about this. You can watch that video, okay? Yes, you will be able to use the skeleton on your LEQ. So that's why you want to make sure that you put some details on there and that you're specific, okay? Being specific is the key, people. I've read a lot of SAQs, I've read a lot of DBQs and LEQs, and that's the biggest problem. The skeleton is basically going to be an outline of your essay. That's what you'll do in class tomorrow. Okay, guys, if you don't have any more questions, I'm going to end this live stream. Thank you so much for participating. It really makes it worth the time and effort to do this. I really, really appreciate it, and love you all very much for participating. It's super fun to read your comments and answer your questions and stuff. So I really enjoy doing it. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope that you had a great weekend, and I'm excited about tomorrow. You're going to rock this LEQ. I just know you are so welcome, dancer. Oh, cool. You're from California. All right. Well, make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss a thing, because we do weekly lives. Usually they are Monday, Tuesday, sometimes Sunday. I'm kind of just like playing around with the day, depending on what works for everybody's schedule and what topic we're doing. So every week we review information that we've talked about in class. So super glad to have you from California. Welcome. I hope your class is going well, and we're all working towards the same thing, right? 4s and 5s on that big AP exam and learning our AP World History, because you never know when you might use this again. You just never know. All right, guys, good night. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks once again for tuning in. All right, good night.